Hello, Mike. Hello, Francis. Hello, Anne-Marie. Spider Jerusalem. The Saxons in the house. Some of you guys show up early to the show, eh? I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night who are watching this transmission. Remember, guys, we are opinion-based only. Do not take any of our medical and or investment or any advice that we give on the show. We don't know what we're talking about, and we can't read. So just take that into account. Hope everyone's doing really good out there. I've been actually looking forward to doing tonight's show because, I don't know, I've had a really busy lead up to today, and I've been keeping going strong, and I feel good. I feel in shape. I feel, summer's here, and the sun's just giving me that extra, Art and Soul in the house, Jay Borg in the house, Mitch Madden in the house, Mark R in the house, Jacob in the house. So I got an email, a nice, beautifully written email from a woman that watches me from Sweden, and she says, Mike, she's like, I can't believe how involved you are with your subscribers. She's been on YouTube like 12, 13 years when when YouTube started getting big and stuff. And she's never been on a channel where she feels or she sees that the involvement, one-to-one involvement that I have personally with a lot of people in the channel, subscribers, of course, right? And I had actually 2, 3, 4 subscribers come visit me today, which was really nice. And I don't think you get that, and you probably do. I'm pretty sure you could drive up and see other YouTubers because you probably know where they work or something and go see them. But I have an open address for people to come and see me at my shop, right? So, and we got W. Pizzit saying Mike's news desk makes me laugh every time. Spider Jerusalem says, that's Jacob, by the way. Yes, Mike's very hands-on with people. Oh, yeah, that's the way to be, man. We got to be one-on-one with each other. We got to level with each other. We got to, mano y mano, right? We need to collaborate with each other. That's the only way. Like Vanilla Ice says, all right, stop. Collaborate and listen. I don't know what that means. But anyways. All right, guys. Let's go through a quick channel plug, and we're going to get on the show. We got lots of articles I want to read out for you guys. So please bear with me here. So let's go really quickly here to the channel. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you get a chance. If you haven't yet, I'm hoping to get to 14,000 subscribers by Christmas. So I need about 6 subscribers a month. Guys, also, don't forget to set your reminders for Mike in the Night next Saturday live show. I don't even know what to call it, so I'm just calling it They Will Never Ever Fight For You. The title of next week's show is They Will Never Ever Fight For You. And there's a link for it for you to set your reminders. Guys, send me your messages on Instagram. If you have messages you would like to send me, please send them on Instagram, please. Because that's the only way. Instagram doesn't block messages for some reason. And don't forget to sponsor Lord Humongous. We'll get him on Mike in the Night this Saturday. The Amerifornia Tour. If you can, please donate to Lord Humongous and the Amerifornia Tour. And artbydano.com, not your typical art. Don't forget to check him out. Artbydano.com. Prints as low as 15 or 16 bucks. Packages, all kinds of cool stuff. And you could even commission Dano to make you a custom portrait. And guys, don't forget to check out ralphie.co.New Zealand, the channel where basically Mike in the Night plays in New Zealand and it gets replayed across Auckland and all kinds of Welland, all kinds of places there in New Zealand, and Christchurch, and all right, let me just paste that there. So don't forget to check that out. So we got, I want call it the Delta variant. No, that's no. Sorry. I'm gonna have to correct you. I don't like to correct guests or people on the show, but sorry. Trust the silence. It's not the Delta variant takeover. No, it's called the Delta Force Chuck Norris Ball Juice variant. If you haven't noticed, that's what it's called. That's what it's code for. All the numbers at the end. That's code for that. So Bob Smithers said I had no notification. Woo! Yeah, you're not going to get notifications to this channel. This channel is a bad channel. If you're on this, you're bad. All right, let's go to some of our top stories and what's happening here, guys. There's all kinds happening, so let's kick this off here. All right, so Amerifornia is in full force. So if you don't know what Amerifornia is, hashtag Amerifornia, hashtag Amerifornia. You'll find a bunch of videos of me talking about Amerifornia and what it is. It's basically America turning into Canada or Australia or the United Kingdom. Basically, English-speaking countries have been plagued with housing crisis, unaffordability of housing, and most of it stems with huge amounts laundered through the banking system that's brought over from overseas. We're going to be talking about a little bit of the money laundering that's been caught lately. I don't think they care. I don't think they want the money laundering to get caught. Canada shut down its money laundering probe a few months back because it's going to start arresting innocent families, and that's what they were saying, that we can't arrest these. This is going to look racist if we start arresting people, because all the people are pretty much the same ethnicity that's laundering money through Canada. Because there's not a lot of countries, like, I don't know anyone from Iran or Russia or even the States that want to launder money through Canada. You know what I'm saying? So we got houses in the United States cost $13.2 more in March 2021 than at the same time last year. Here's why houses are so expensive in the U.S. right now. So again, Amerifornia. So they're up 40 to 100% up. There are some parts and some regions in the United States where housing is up 50% already from last year. And guys, I want to make myself very clear here. This Amerifornia prediction was dated the day that Josue Biden was selected as president. He was not elected. I'm going to confirm that with you guys. He was not elected as president. He was selected. Okay? I'm not no supporter for, I'm not an idiot. I could see what's going on. I'm not an idiot. I could see that was a selection, not an election, right? So when he was selected, the next day, I started talking about Amerifornia, and they're coming for the housing. America's 4 years behind, 4.5 years behind Canada and Australia and the UK for housing prices. Now, things are going to heat up real good in America. Oh, and you know what's the cover for this? Tell me in the comments if you know what the cover for the housing prices being out of reach and forcing millions of Americans into homeless. What's the cover for this housing crisis? You don't hear much of it. Well, in case you didn't know, it's a Delta Force ball juice variant. That's exactly what the cover is for this. That's what the whole point of this whole Delta juice thing is, just to make so housing, nobody kind of pays attention to what's happening in housing. Go ahead and burn the cities down. Go ahead and riot. Go ahead and do all the garbage you're doing. But housing's still going to go up. And you're going to be bought out. And you're going to be forced into homelessness. And that's Amerifornia, my friends. So Gerald Salenta was reporting one passed away from CV in 6 months in a Victoria hospital. Yeah, shut it down. Yeah, Spider Jerusalem saying cash flight. Woo! Search for the truth in the house from California. Okay, so here it is. Houses in the United States of America, 13.2% in March 2021 than the same time last year. Okay, home prices in March are 13.2% higher. Higher costs for land, labor, and building materials have impacted home builders. And you know what? Even if you were to build your own home, you'll start to notice that everything's getting expensive. Even if you just went with the plans and built your own home and got a contractor. With Covey encouraging city dwellers to move out to the suburbs. It's not Covey. You see? I hate this bull crap, piece of crap, fake news. I hate this garbage. This is the same crap that was happening in Vancouver 10 years ago, and in Australia and Sydney and Melbourne 8 years ago, and Perth 10 years ago. This was happening in London 8 years ago. People were leaving to the suburbs because they can't afford to live in the cities anymore. Because they're bought out, not because of bullshit ball juice. bullshit, ball juice. So with Covey, so when you hear Covey, it's bullshit. With Covey encouraging city dwellers to move to the suburbs and families looking for home offices and bigger yards. No, people are leaving the cities and driving 2 hours to work now or working from home because they can't afford to live in the cities. Half the homes in cities, half of the homes in the blue states, half of the homes in the blue states are empty. Look at California. For every one homeless person in California, you have 5.2 empty homes now. 5.2 empty dwellings in LA County for every homeless person. That's LA County. So Bat Soup is saying, what news is real news? Jeff Salcedo, Jefe Salcedo, saying action is finally underway to move homeless out of Venice Beach, California. Yeah. So with COVID encouraging city dwellers to move to suburbs. See what they're doing? You see what they're doing? This is the same thing that happened in Vancouver. Started 10 years ago. And people were leaving. Here. You want proof? Watch this. Watch this. You want proof? Here you go. I hope this information gets shared and passed along. Here you go. What's the what? Oh, this is from 2018. Thank you, Anthony, for the $5. Okay, this is from 2018. Here, let me put it on full screen so your eyes don't play games on you here. Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. Aboriginals and whites are leaving Metro Vancouver for other parts of the region, particularly to live in the Fraser Valley and Vancouver Island, Okanagan, according to statistics. Do you know why? Because nobody could afford to live in their own cities they were born and raised in. Okay? Housing affordability was out of reach already in 2014 in Vancouver. It started in 2017 in Toronto when they brought in the foreign buyers tax in Vancouver, and then in 2017 the foreign investors went to Toronto and screwed that market up. And they went down to Seattle and destroyed that. And they're blaming the tech workers. Right there. So there it is. Douglas taught Aboriginals and whites living. See, at least they're honest here in Canada. In the States, why Covey encouraging city dwellers to move to the suburbs. Doesn't this just piss you off? Exactly. Bob Smithers pushed out in the comments. Bob Smithers pushed out. Covey encouraging. Families are looking for home offices and bigger yards. Prices for the American dream have skyrocketed. It's because of Amerifornia! Home prices surged in March, up 13.2% from the year prior, according to S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller National Home Price Index. Everybody expected housing to really dry up with the rest of the economy. Not housing, buddy. Look what happened to Vancouver and other cities. Housing went up like 20% in the last 3 months. With homeowners unwilling to sell, a record low supply of homes for sale has forced buyers into the intense bidding wars. Now, bidding wars, okay? What do you mean bidding wars? There's so many, you got maybe 11 million uninhabited dwellings across America. But it's 11 or 12 million empty homes across America. What do you mean? What are you talking about? So they're playing the supply and demand game like they did in Canada back in 2016. It's the supply. They're not factoring in the amount of empty homes that are causing these artificial shortages. Let me open this here real quick here. I'm very, very disappointed that, it's not that, the news lies and all that, but it's so garbage. I don't even have a grade 10 education, and I could see through that garbage. Let me go into here real quick here. We gotta set this straight. See if I could find it here. This is complete BS. Very disappointed with the way, the lack of just the way it's right here it is. Amerifornia. This was in 5 months ago, so it was during the and Biden tax hikes fast forward destruction. Again, America several years behind Canada and Australia. What else? Wake up, America. Amerifornia's here. And Chinese buying up America. Now that the Chinese have chosen, now with the new president-elect in place, Chinese feel more comfortable to buy up the rest of America. Here we go. A Biden win? Say hello to Amerifornia 7 months ago. Amerifornia's here. Oh, here it is. American housing to increase 40 to 100% in 2021. Right there. I just wanted to make that very clear for you guys. All right, I want to get Spider Jerusalem here on the show, if he doesn't mind. Hold on, I got Florian Heise messaging me here. I just was chatting with him a little bit. Florian Heise from Heise Says. All right, let's go into. So this is so there. I gotta wind down. I gotta wind myself down here. Let me call Jacob really quick here and ask him what he thinks.
Hello.
Hey, Jacob, I'm sorry to bother you.
No, what's going on?
Dude, you gotta wind me down here because I'm really upset because I just can't.
See that.
I can't believe this BS with Covey encouraging city dwellers to move out of suburbs. What a crock of garbage. They're moving to suburbs because they can't afford to live in cities. This is what's happened. This is what happened in Vancouver in 2012.
Yes. And but by now, like the folks that have moved out from the interior of BC even have made it out here, right? And they moved out here like 10 years ago. So we saw the influx back then, right? The interior emptied out. They went past the prairies and kept going, right?
Yeah.
That was a big thing. It was a big thing in the GTA at the time.
Well, people who have left Ontario. Listen. I met a family that moved out of, where was it? Hold on. Wasn't Thunder Bay? No. Halton, Ontario. They sold in Halton, Ontario, and they live in Merritt now.
Oh, of course, it went the other direction because of the manufacturing and everything had moved out of here. So there was the career opportunities dried up long before the real estate out here shot up. Because in the 90s, houses here were nothing, right?
Yeah. Well, we're in a position, like, especially with wages. Excuse me. Especially with wages not adjusting with the cost of basic goods. We're not even talking about like buying a Ferrari or a mansion. We're talking about a crack shack built after World War I in Vancouver going for 1.2, and then it goes 800,000 over asking.
Right. And just think of the turnover that's happening because these houses are empty anyways.
But you got shadow flipping. Because what happens is
absolutely.
What happens is you get two corporations owned by the same person. Okay.
Yes.
I know one guy from Shanghai, he actually explained to me. He buys a house in his corporation, sells it to the other corporation, and he just laundered $2.6 million in a Canadian bank. Then he buys it back with the other corporation, and then he laundered another $2.7 million, and then the house keeps going up. But what happens when you launder that much money, it actually impoverishes the locals.
Oh, of course it does. I think our government here got drunk on all this cash flight coming in out of mostly Asia. Right, they're drunk on it because all the property taxes and transaction fees and everything get involved. Right, they're drunk on this. And it's just easy to sell us out.
Oh, they're so easy to sell us. We don't even exist, and that's the sad part.
Well, yeah, exactly. It was easy.
Can Canada would be in a recession without money laundering, and they've only caught $200 billion for 4 years investigation.
Right.
And then the Liberal government shut down the investigation because they said it was going to arrest too many families or whatever.
It was too big to fail, is what it was. Right, criminal enterprise too big to fail. That's that's well documented, right? That those arms reach all the way across the whole planet.
But isn't that what they said about the Titanic before it left? Even God couldn't sink that ship.
That's right. And that was the end of that industry, actually, when that happened, on the scale that it had once been. Because they were moving around millions of people by cruise ship at the time. That was basically the end of it.
Yeah, I met a family that came into my store today to buy some board games, and they're on a tour bus.
Right.
And I asked them, I go, what do you guys live in town? They're like, oh no. I'm with my uncle. I'm translating for him. He speaks Mandarin, but I'm translating for him. He's coming. We're going to see on the tour bus. We're going to go see properties to buy.
Oh, for sure. And how far are you from the coast?
Wow. Yeah.
How far are you from the coast?
Like 200 miles.
Right. So you're like not quite in the deep mountains yet, right?
No.
So this is a significantly far drive from Vancouver. Imagine to land.
Yeah.
Right. But so they're fanning out into the interior, but I'm sure that's been going on for a long time.
Yes, it was. It was.
Apparently,
there's a city
more
here called Kelowna, and the average house there goes up about $600-700 an hour.
Right. All that cash is fleeing and moving into our country, right? Of course, they're just drunk on it. Because that's not a good sign if the money is running to hide here. Of course, we'll drink it all in. It's the Canadian government. They can't help themselves, right?
It's
not a good sign.
It's very
because think of the trouble you'd have to go through to get your money out of where it is now, and say go to Ecuador like your friend and uplift. You know what I mean? All this cash moving around is not a good sign for stability.
So let's read this again. With COVID encouraging city dwellers to move to the suburbs and families looking for a home, why don't they just be honest and say, look, with major cities across America looking at a major unaffordability levels for the average wage earners need to move out to the suburb. Why don't they just honestly report this? Why is this garbage being thrown at us?
I suppose they don't want to. They just don't want to open that bag of snakes. You know what I mean? All the corruption and all the money laundering and all the details. Names would be named. It would be a major problem. I don't blame them for not wanting to open it because they would be in that bag of snakes very quickly. Where it's such an easy place to influence, really, because there's only like 5 population centers out here, and particularly in Vancouver, like this was a long time coming. They even dialed it back a little bit over time. Damage is done though, of course. And as for the folks that are coming in here, of course they want a safe place to hide because the world is not doing so well.
I wanted to say something. I like it how America is they're still crying. They even wrote another article. America's crying over the $11.7 billion brought in from Hong Kong in 2020.
Right.
Into real estate. And people are pissed, are upset in North Dakota, Montana, New Mexico, and parts like that because housing has been going up because a ton of cash is coming into America now because now they have the new president-elect.
Right.
And now, hold on. But Canada, how much do you think... I know you watch my show, so I'll let you cheat. How much do you think came into Canada?
Well, what
in 2020
won? Oh, I don't know the number, but
okay, well, here it is.
I do know that we would get more than that up here in a quarter, right? In one business quarter than they would in a whole year. The States.
You're
we're just a tiny.
You are a smart man, right. And let me tell you what it was: 43.6 billion from Hong Kong in 2020.
Into the U.S. or into Canada?
Into Canada. U.S. got 11 billion, and they're freaking out.
So yeah, exactly. We're talking more than 5 times almost.
We got 5 times, and how much smaller is our population than the States?
It's 90% smaller actually.
So there you go. You see where I'm going here?
Almost 100. Well, they're almost outnumber us 10-1.
That's why the housing in Canada, like to buy like an apartment in this building right here, is
right.
Like is going to cost you. This building right here is going to cost you $1.6 million for a 2-bedroom.
I'm surprised it's not more when you think about it. The houses all across Canada should cost 4 times what they would cost in the United States, right? But they don't, because it's only going in, and we're not building. We're seeing very little out here, right? So they're stacking in all the money that they can, I suspect, while they can.
Okay, I got Cuddles and Daisy here saying destroying the middle class in the USA on purpose. Do you think they're doing that?
Long gone already, I think. If you ask me, the wealth of the United States from 2 or 3 generations ago would be alien to us to see. You could buy a 7,000-pound Buick and you worked at a coffee shop. You know what I mean? Back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh man, you could buy a house. You could buy a house in Troy, Michigan, for like $13,000 in 1991.
Right, exactly. So if you worked at 7-Eleven, you would have been able to swing that and have a used car. And those days the purchasing power is long gone. 90% gone. Now everyone's to get by in the States. Remember, they're far more cutthroat than we are up here in Canada. Those social nets that we have here, they don't have. Mm-hmm. So you're on your own, and if you're not making, you better go make some more money. So Americans have to work their butts off, right? Mm-hmm. Often 2-3 jobs.
Mind you, they're taxed a lot less, and they could expense their interest on their mortgage, eh? Mm. We can't do that.
And their tax brackets are far different as for property owners.
Yeah, we're shafted here in Canada on every angle of the octagon. We're shafted
because we still got that semblance of a monarchy kingdom type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. He was just, we don't have the same level of rights individually, or your property rights, for example, that they do in say the United States, because it's still kind of a serfdom, really. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We got the queen on our money and the crown. Yeah, exactly, right? So. Because they always wanted to keep that one foot in Europe in case the Americans turn on us. That's that complicated relationship you have with the Americans.
I would take the American side 1,000,000%. Because the last thing they have right now standing for them is the Constitution, and I don't know how long that's going to stand.
I don't know either. But if you do the math and you look at history, democracies tend to last about 200 years. That's about it. America's been a republic longer than the Romans were. A lot of people is not aware of that. Mm-hmm. Rome was an empire for after that, till its dying days.
Right, that's right.
So things change, right? And it's all in history. It repeats, just the costume changes, right? Mm-hmm. So I studied history intently, trying to read the tea leaves of what's going on in the world around us.
Mm-hmm. You know who used to read the tea leaves historically?
Mm.
Who?
No. Do you tell me?
The Sibyl.
Who?
Sibyl. She's from Italy. She used to chew on laurel leaves, and she was in a cave.
Right.
She used to chew on laurel leaves, and then she would get these visions, and she would write down she would write down the future. And if you look at the Sibyl, and you look at a lot of the future predictions she made, a lot of it is coming here. And Mother Shipton also was another predictor who predicted these times now. Well, women will cut their locks of hair and wear trousers, like men. Yeah,
because you're talking about all these oracles that came out in before World War I, right?
1200s and the 800s, and yeah.
Well, they had all these ladies in Italy and Portugal and in southern France. They were all oracles before the war. They were predicting all that stuff.
Yep.
It sounds very familiar to me. There was a series of them.
Yeah. Mother Shipton was man will fly the skies and strip the birds of flight. And yeah, so.
When was the last time you saw an airplane?
I saw one the other day, Pat, flying over.
Yeah, very. I'm maybe 100 kilometers from Pearson Airport. I haven't seen an airplane in 6 months.
The airplane that flew over was actually military.
Right. Well, that's all I've seen is helicopters and the occasional transport plane. That's about it. Private jets occasionally, heading towards Ottawa.
That's an interesting time, really. Okay, Jacob, thanks for coming on and helping me wind down a bit here.
Oh, we all got your back, and if you want to rant, we could trade places. I say go for it.
All right, Jacob, you have a good one. I'll see you on Mike in the Night.
Cheers, always.
All right, God bless. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's my man Jacob. He's got something he sent me here. What are we looking at here? He sent me something here. Woo! North South sent me $10. Who is going to rent these homes from BlackRock? Marriage rates at all-time low. Men don't want or can't afford, if they do, a wife or family anymore, especially with 75% of divorce initiated by women. Wow. Yeah, it's really tough. That's why you have this huge, what do you call it, movement, MGTOW, right? Men going their own way and type of thing. I'm more of a traditional guy. So for me, when I chose my wife, the woman that I would want to be with and spend the rest of my life with, she was super humble, from the Philippines, Catholic, the whole 9 yards, right? She was raised under machismo, right? Male chauvinism. So she was like really kind of, and now she's happy, she understands, how tough things could get and how great things could be, right? And yeah, it's really tough, especially with, people got married back in the day to financially make ends meet, right? And that's, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening with that anymore. It's White House says rising home prices are a concern. Again, a major concern. So, Amerifornia right here. Washington, the Biden administration is monitoring rising U.S. home prices, which it is concerned are increasingly making housing unaffordable, a White House spokeswoman said on Tuesday. The increase of housing prices we've seen does raise concerns for us about the affordability and access to the housing market, White House press said. We recognize there is a need for new housing supply, particularly on the affordable end of the market. Now, here's the deal. In 2014, 2015, and 2016 in Vancouver, they were playing this supply and demand game. They were playing the exact same game in Australia. They were playing it in New Zealand and the United Kingdom. They were playing the supply. And then New Zealand went as far as banning foreign investors and this and that. And that's how bad it got. It got so bad that locals just couldn't get into their own real estate anymore. Low Roller Scratcher saying a lot of people desperate investing in meme stock and cryptocurrency. Guys, don't forget to check out Low Roller Scratcher. I hope Spider Jerusalem is on our... guys, we got a thing, a Discord, and it's picking up pace fast. We got a lot of people posting. We have a crypto section, a solutions section. We post solutions. We post crypto talk, and we just have Mike in the Night talk. We just talk and post all kinds. And I'm getting a lot of good articles from there and reading a lot of the other half, I guess, of what other people are seeing. Adrian Sharp says, you're on it, Mike. A lot of houses will build 3D homes. Yep. As 3D printers get bigger and bigger. You see them in the warehouses now, these 3D printers, and they're getting bigger and bigger. And they're going to be able to start creating planks and all kinds of, and that filament can start being made with recycled material. We talked about that on Trends in the Housing Market like 3 years ago, and it will be a thing. So luxury home sales, even helping houses that languished on the market for months. So luxury home sales, now you're probably wondering, they was on the market for months, if not years. And these big homes, now guys living so here it is. Rise and or fall of home sale prices. There it is. This is a great one right here. Let me put this on full screen right here. So if you got the Northeast, you got prices there in the Northeast. Then if you go over to the Midwest, you start getting prices, the Midwest, South, and West. And there you go, 1 million or more. So the further west you go, like the whole west coast of the United States is completely bought out. Okay, let's go to the south. Yeah, there's the south and there's the west. So they're 1 million or more. So there it is. Anything west coast in the United States is all foreign owned. It's all big money in there, and it's been happening the last decade. Right? Amerifornia is just accelerating it and moving the people out of those cities into middle America, where people living in middle America will be priced out of their own cities because other people... It happened to me. I lived in Vancouver. I'm not going to put down X amount of dollars for $2 million for a house that's realistically worth 90 grand in Alabama. So I said, screw that. And I bought here for 260, and I got a big house with a big yard, and I'm raising my family. I'm not bragging, but I got out when I told people to get out. I put my money where my mouth was, right? So the number of homes that sold for more than $1 million rose by 81%, and a lot of the homes, and they're not going to report it on here, and I'm willing to bet 100 to 1, are empty. They're left empty. Like in Seattle, luxury homes, luxury penthouse suites, luxury condos, all left empty, owned by corporation numbers. Nobody knows who owns it. Okay, so we got Peter O'Brien saying, I watched a video last night about the man in Ghana making his house bricks from recycled plastic. He built a house quite cheap, inspiring. Lawrence is saying it's technology that can be captured. Clearly, the market to access many trades and professions have high barriers to enter. We got Grindhouse Cartoons as art by Dano, guys. Don't forget to check them out. Yeah, Low Roller Scratcher saying the American will moving to the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. Vietnam. It's not Vietnam. It's Vietnam. Next, Mike Martins. Francis Foley is saying millennials should come together. So there it is. Now, let's get into a little bit of meat and potatoes here. Chinese police arrest 1,100 people in crypto-related money laundering charges. This was sent to me from Shanghai Charlie sent this to me. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but he emailed me today from a dead email address. So he just sent me this and says, you better look into this because it's a lot worse than what they're reporting here. So this is the 5th round of nationwide crackdown on money laundering activities related to telecom fraud in China, dubbed Operation Card Breaking. So thousands of people, and it goes in to say, Papa Piss just sent me $3.99 super chat. Thank you so much. He's asking, does Trudeau call a snap election at the end of summer? He would love to call a snap election before America opens because Canada's going to have to open. He would love to call a snap election because then we could do the mail-in ballot system, and then you'll have all the provinces dangerous to go into voting in person, and then they're going to do the mail-in ballots, and then it doesn't matter who you vote for, it's who counts the votes. China continues crackdowns. The state council called for tough crackdowns on telecom fraud. In October 2020, the Chinese police then started Operation Card Banking. It arrested more than 311,000 people. 311,000 people and eliminated 15,000 criminal organizations, according to the Ministry of Public Security. 311,000 people got arrested. That's like a medium to a big city in Canada. Like, I think if you get Merritt, Kamloops, and Kelowna, that's not even 300,000 people. I think if you got like a good chunk of BC's interior, I think that's like 300,000 people. Holy crap! And this is just a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? At least China is cracking down on their own. Money laundering. Money laundering in China is huge. If you get caught, I think it's death. Like, I know of a mayor that was laundering money through real estate, through those ghost towers in those ghost cities in China, and he was sentenced to death when they caught him. I was like, whoa. Laurel Scratcher saying the U.S. media is pushing workers shortage. Is that Canada have workers shortage problem too? No, Canada. What happens is, I don't know if I should talk about this. In Canada, what it is we've had a huge issue here with a lot of companies where they just don't hire local Canadians as much anymore. I'm not talking about trade work, plumbing. I'm talking about like in offices or government jobs. They just don't hire Canadians anymore. So we have a lot of people in being flown in, so to say, to take the jobs that are available. And a lot of people do want to work these jobs, but they just don't get. They're not allowed to. Okay, I spoke to somebody who's a regional manager of a big fast food chain. A regional manager. He had 7 or 8 district managers below him, and he was told from the uppers that anybody from local, like, just tear up the resume, throw it in the garbage, tell me to call them back. They want to bring in people so that they could push them around and tell them they'll send them back to their. I've spoken to people who've been mistreated at work, and they've emailed me and said that, well, they always threaten me to send me back to my country if I don't stay an extra 3 hours over and don't get paid for it, you know? So that's something that's happening here in Canada, and that's really hard to stomach, you know? Layla says Canada's hemorrhaging immigrants. It's huge. It's huge. Canada deports people to Portugal. Portuguese go back to Portugal. They get always deported. They deported 2 more families last week during COVID back to Portugal. But, you know, Slocks123 says, anyone see the vigil that JT attended in London? No, I didn't see it. All right, let's move on. Okay, so this is it. So this is a major issue that's been happening in Australia for years. NAB's, National Australian Bank, secretive Project Apollo to fix financial crime loopholes. So they've been having a lot of breaches of money laundering, several million breaches of money laundering in one of these banks. And then you got this one here. You got NAB, anti-money laundering probe shares. Their shares are falling. Obviously, your shares are going to take a hit when they know that you're working with criminals. And every time you work with criminals, you end up breaking crimes. And when you break crimes, you pay fines. And Australia's Westpac agrees record fine for money laundering. So these articles go back for years. And there's 23 million breaches. Look at that right there. 23 million breaches of money laundering laws. This is not $23 million. This is 23 million breaches of money laundering laws. This is a major issue because this is impoverishing the world. The world is getting impoverished due to money laundering, and people don't notice it because it's worse than inflation. It's actually because you just can't. Okay, with inflation, your money is worthless. You can't. Everything goes up in price. Your money becomes worthless. It devalues your currency. But when the banks are money laundering billions, 23 million breaches in 1 year. If I did one breach, I'd be sitting in a jail. If I laundered money, they'd make me an example, put me in the front, and show the world how bad money laundering is, and you shouldn't be. And they'll use me as the poster child if I did it once, because the bank in Australia, Westpac, does 23 million breaches of money laundering. Not $23 million, 23 million breaches. That's okay. That's the problem we're living in today. So this lady here. $1,600 taken from customer's account, and her bank won't say why. Now, I'm going to let you know, I think it was $2,400 taken out of one of my accounts too. I don't know. I don't know where. I asked the bank, and I said, the bank, there's something wrong here. There's I think it was $2,700 missing from the account. And they're like, yeah, well, we don't know what that is. I'm like, well, who took it? Well, we don't know. So, guys, keep an eye on your balances, please. $1,600 taken from customer's account, and the bank won't say why. So she said, wait a minute. What do you mean you can't tell me anything about it? So they're not allowed to tell her anything about it. They're not allowed to tell anything. If your money goes missing from your account, right here, this is the mainstream government paid media. So they're making sure people understand. Well, we wrote an article about it. People are losing their money for the bank accounts, and the bank can't tell you why. And this is just an example to show you, oh, we know what's happening. This is happening. Get used to it. You get used to this, because that's what's going to be going forward. And the Wall Street Journal is reporting Fed warned Dutch bank over anti-money laundering backsliding. Obviously, they're going to have to figure out Deutsche Bank is down too, and all the banks around the world are having troubles with money laundering. Deutsche Bank has poured massive resources into addressing the repeated shortcomings and penalties related to allowing a suspect transaction. The Fed told Deutsche Bank that that instead of making progress, the German lender with a large Wall Street presence is backsliding. The regulator has said that some of the anti-money laundering control problems require immediate attention according to the people. And again, it's impoverishing the locals. But I don't think the banks care about the locals, right? I think the banks don't even care about anyone that has less than $4 or $5 million bucks. If you have less than $5 million, they don't even care, about you. Lawrence has got a good point. I fluctuate around zero balance. These banks can't be trusted. New book dives into Canadian real estate gangs, laundering, and corrupt officials. Oh, tycoons, narcos, these big China set out to power grab. A controversial bestseller. How business. Let's look at this here real quick. Demographics, opportunity or well-organized plan. The real estate insiders were one of the biggest whistleblowers. I try to be a whistleblower for this. Oh, how Canada's housing crisis is related to fentanyl. This is a big deal. We covered this 2.5, 3 years ago of the fentanyl crisis, where factories in China were producing fentanyl, bringing it to Canada, and then using the proceeds and laundering it into housing. And I tried to, we went over this, we discussed this, and people were like, oh, the police will do something, police will arrest people. No. It's very select. Very select. Everything in Canada is severely select. Right? See, the more fentanyl sold, the more luxury real estate is needed. It doesn't matter how big it is. It just needs to be expensive. Maybe Canada should consider fentanyl deaths a market fundamental. And they're not joking about this. This is not a joke. What's this book called? I'm going to buy this book later on Amazon. Opportunity? Is it called Opportunity? New book dives into real estate gangs, money laundering, and corruption. How the networks of narcos, tycoons, and CPP agents infiltrated the West. Yeah, I'm gonna pick that up. I'm gonna pick that up and read parts of it to you guys, because they've used the lives of our youth who are dying in the city streets, who know they don't have a chance to get ahead, to launder that money to buy more big properties, and the more expensive, the more better. Right there. Yeah, Anna Key saying the paramedics in New South Wales, Australia are on strike because they want a pay raise. The real issue across the West, which Mike needs to start organizing around, is legislative capture and barriers to entry to market. It can't. Okay. The thing is, the problem is our borders are purposely turning a blind eye to bringing in money. If we just uphold the laws that are in place and actually crack down and actually have a task force to crack down on money laundering, we wouldn't be here right now. If it was actually done by the book, we would not be here talking about this right now. But unfortunately, we are. And we have money laundering laws in place. We have money laundering. We did have a big task force, but they shut the task force down. The Liberal government 6, maybe 8 months ago, 9 months maybe now, shut down the money laundering task force because they said it was going to arrest too many families. Too many people will sit in a prison cell for breaking the law. Unfortunately, the law is allowed to be broken if you have a lot of money and you're bringing it into Canada. You want more proof? Here you go. I'm bringing up the proof today. I got to bring in the proof every day, you know? Here it is, our favorite article of the channel. We bring this up all the time. Canada wants more Chinese workers and students because they bring a lot of money. And how much are they bringing in? $500,000 per year. And this does not go on to Canada immigration stats. This does not go on Canada immigration stats. It does not apply to that. They're fast-tracking and opening more visa offices for Canada to compete against Australia, the UK, New Zealand, and now California for more Chinese money. And that's the problem right there. But they're not, you go on Canada's immigration stats, guess what? You don't even see, you see Filipino, you see everything there, you know, you don't see a huge influx of Chinese like they're bringing in through the back door, right? So that's how it works. That's how it works. All right, let's move along here. All right. I'm gonna check out that new book. Lumber executives see prices falling, suggest waiting may be a smart idea. Of course it's gonna fall. Of course it's gonna fall. They've been hoarding lumber. Do you know how much lumber there's around here in these yards? They're just piling up in lumber. RBC revises Canadian home sales and price growth higher on government inaction. Anything the government involves itself with first-time home buyer loans, all this Mickey Mousing. You see, Canada, if Canada wanted to be a true savior, it would do a first-time home buyer loan like America does, where you take a first-time home buyer loan in America. If you live in the house for 4 years, you don't have to pay the loan back. In Canada, you have to pay it back with like 5% interest. And that's how they're helping you get into this. Canada expects pent-up savings to boost home sales, but they're greatly exaggerated. Nobody has money. Lumber prices are crashing at 30% below peak and forecast to fall further. It's going to go into negative territory. You're going to see lumber go into negative. Just like I predicted oil was going to go negative 2 days before it went negative. I got a video to prove it. Americans have saved up 70% of their latest stimulus checks. Bank of America CEO says potentially leaving hundreds of billions unspent. Okay. So people are being smart. Craziest market in 30 years, the impact of global housing boom. Yeah, they need to be. The median house price for a house in the exclusive enclave is now $2.6 million, having jumped $200,000 over the past 12 months. So your house is making a couple of $100 an hour if it jumps up $200,000 in 12 months. Oh, look, there's a guy on the phone here. Holy, that makes the house... This guy having this conversation on the phone, his house just went up $800 in that conversation right there. All right. And mortgage stress on the rise across Australia, with Tasmania hit the hardest. Heisa says that a video on his channel recently on this, where Tasmania, like 50% of mortgage holders are in severe mortgage default. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We're going to talk a little bit here. What time is it? I'm not even paying attention to the time. All right, I've been talking for almost an hour. Let's get another guest on. So this is what's happening, guys. I love it when they start with this. With COVID encouraging city dwellers to move to the suburbs. What a bunch of garbage. What a bunch of garbage. You know how if I was if I wrote this article with housing prices across American cities out of reach for average wage earners, Americans are forced to move to smaller towns. And that's what I talked about in California 8 months ago. 7 months ago when I announced California. This is what I was talking about. Exactly. But they're going to use COVID. They're going to use COVID 100 years from now. Hey, did you hear what they said in the Yukon territories? That the flu is no longer here. We're going to be vaccinating quarterly or every 4 months due to COVID. And COVID's here to stay in the Yukon territories in Canada. If Mike Martins accidentally gave him $1 million in his bank account, If he spend it, he goes to prison. Your money is missing, the banker doesn't go to prison. That's how it works. That's how it is. This is tyranny, where basically the corporation, the government, or the big wig could basically do whatever they want and nothing happens. But if I do it or you do it, we end up in a jail cell. And that's how it works. And we're made an example of, depending on the color of our skin. If the lighter your skin tone is, the bigger example you're made of. So watch out for that. Grindhouse cartoons, it's like musical chairs in the real estate market. Okay, let's get somebody on the show here. So there it is. These are the old videos. If you type in Amerifornia, someone asked me, what the hell is Amerifornia? What are you talking about? Amerifornia meaning 5 months ago. Top 2021 Amerifornia is top 2021 Amerifornia is raging across America. And this is the most important one to watch. A Biden win. Say hello to Amerifornia 7 months ago. Amerifornia is here. And this is what's going to happen. And America needs to wake the F up. Because this is going to be a very rude awakening for a lot of people. And that's why people are running to the suburbs. All right, we need Lawrence Main? Lawrence Main to call into the show. He's got a lot of good feedback he's given us here in the comments. All right, who are we going to get on the show, man? Who are we going to get on this show? Business, news, financials. Kind of falling asleep. Been a long day. Been working up to today. You know what? I want to speak to Anthony Ruvalacaba. I don't know if he's working, studying, or what he's doing. Let's see if he picks up. Anthony, I know you're listening in the background. Let me see if Ricky Spanish is available too, because he sent me a few messages. Ricky Spanish is very active on the Discord if you want to see what we're talking about on the Discord. Okay, Lawrence is saying he's in Australia. That's fine. Everybody, I got like 7 people here in Australia. It's like, what time is it? It's almost noon there. It's Thursday, noon, lunchtime there. All right, no answer from Anthony. I hope he's okay. I hope he's doing okay. All right, guys, add me on Skype. Mike Martins, 1980. Ooh, Dave Casso messaged me too. Let's try and think who we have on the show here that we could get on the show. Come on and talk. Shoot the breeze. Tell us what's happening financially in your sector. Whether your forbearance is drying up. Whether your Lawrence is saying, I've been thinking about doing a YouTube channel. Yeah, do a YouTube channel. You'll blow up. Your channel, anybody that does a YouTube channel and talks about these current events, their channel will blow up. YouTube doesn't like me. I had someone in my store today that watches my channel and actually takes a really good look at things. And he said that my mic in the night from last Saturday, it was a good mic in the night. We had a lot of good colors. He said that my mic in the night, this is it, this one, New World. It started with 4,100 views. Oh, sorry. This one right here, Mike in the Night, the 15%. I'm going to give you the link for this Mike in the Night. Dude, because you see, Canada and Australia and New Zealand and the UK are in a completely different plane. They're on a different plane. Okay. Yeah. America is gonna, if they fully open, what they said was it June 31st or June 30th. America said they're going to be fully open and that's it. Dude, I'm concerned about this because if America fully opens and Canada stays shut. And in Australia stays shut because by then the Delta juice is gone. They're going to be talking about like some variant ball juice 3 is going to variant ball juice 3. So there's the clip from last week. So here's the Mike in the Night from last Saturday. That's a clip of it there if you guys want to watch it. It was a really good Mike in the Night. Yeah, so you know, he told me that this video, I saw it go over past 4,000 views. then it went 3,900, then it went 3,600, then it went 3,000, then it went 21, and then it went to 900, then it's back at 2,100. So I don't know why views are getting removed from the channel. I don't know. But anyone that comes on now and starts a channel and talks about this, their channel will blow up. All they have to do is just take a video I made and regurgitate everything I just said, and it will just blow up. Francis Foley is asking, when will the people lose their shirts in Canada? Oh, they lost their shirts, the tampons, they lost everything in Canada. Canada is at a point right now as people are severely over leveraged, and that's become a major issue in Canada. Australia too. A lot of places they're severely over leveraged. And I don't know what to say anymore at the position that we are in right now. It's almost like... All right, let me see if I can get... Layla, turn on your Skype if you could talk. Oh, her Skype's on. We're going to call Layla in Egypt. But I think it's like 7 o'clock in the morning there. Or 5 o'clock in the morning in Egypt.
Mike, how are you?
Good. Is it like 5 in the morning there?
Is it? It's 4.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for calling at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no worries, Mike. I'm up. I've been up all night.
Oh.
Just been having long nights.
Okay. So, really quickly here, I'm going to take a sip of water. What do you think about this? Like, what do you think is happening? Like, I mean, is this whole buyout a plan? Or is it just happening by accident? Or, I mean, a lot of gangs involved. Like, how high up or organized do you think this actually goes?
So, Mike, sorry, what are you talking about? There's a delay.
Oh, sorry.
And I didn't know you
What is it? What is that? How high up is this? How high up is this unaffordability structured program they're doing? How high up do you think it really goes? How
in
organized
Canada
is this?
specifically? In Canada specifically, Mike?
Okay, let's say Canada, for example. Yeah.
Well, in Canada, I think it's tying into the whole UBI thing. You know,
Okay.
I don't think they're letting go. I think it would have been natural for landlords to decrease their rents and everything, but it's not happening in Ontario, and that's when they have a rental crisis. You know, like they need people to rent, and so you're seeing these 1 month, 2 month free, and things like that. But they're still not budging on the rents, for example. There are 51 affordable housing projects planned for Toronto by 2022, and all of them are going to have health services in them.
Like safe injection sites?
That's right.
Oh, let's get it.
That's
a round
right.
of
That's
applause here.
right. Yeah. Good you catch on. You can
Here's
look it
the
up, Mike,
problem
if you type
with
it into the...
I think they're going to start moving people into these things, and I heard they're converting hotels, but their hotels are being actually used for people that they're flying into Canada to become immigrants.
Well, not just that. You know, they're using them for all sorts of different situations. They've used them for immigrants. They've used them for homeless people, and not necessarily the same exact hotels. You know, but there are these redevelopment plans that are happening. And, you know, Mike, we've been predicting this since 2019, where all sorts of people are going to be on the streets, or they're going to have affordability issues with housing and rents. And they're going to be scooped up by these places. And in these places, you're going to have outbreaks, and there's going to be vaccination rollouts. You know, it's the same model that's rolling out across different portions of society, right? They did this with long-term care. Now they're doing them in, like the most recent thing now is the university residents. So all students who are staying at university dorms, they have to take the vaccine. So that's true for UFT, that's true for Western, and they're rolling out similar plans across other universities. You know, they're gonna start going for these pockets. I just had a visitor. She left just tonight. She's heading back to Toronto, to Mississauga, and she works she's a technician in a lab, in a testing lab.
Woo!
All of healthcare, all of the people in healthcare who work directly with patients have to be vaccinated. And the most recent Toronto update, or sorry, the one before the most recent one, because the most recent one came out today, the question was asked, are employers going to require vaccinations? So now that's coming onto the table. So I'm seeing required vaccinations, honestly.
But a lot of these leaders are not really
There's
taking these vaccinations. They're not. They have the tips on the needles. They got fake needle tips. They got the fake needle that pushes in. It looks like it's going in your arm. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends how high up you go. I think the levels that work close to us, for example, like the city, the mayors, I think they're all taking it. I don't see why they're not.
I
I
don't. I
think they're
don't.
all.
I honestly highly doubt they're taking this vaccine. I very highly, depending on how
I
high
don't
up,
think
I
they're
think they're
high.
not taking it.
I don't think they're high. Yeah, exactly. I think it depends how high up. Like, I don't think Bill Gates is taking his own vaccine or eating his own food for that matter. But like lower down, for example, like John Tory and De Villa and these people, I think they're taking it. I don't know about Trudeau, but I think it
No
depends how
plastic
high up
tip
you
for
go,
him. Same thing with
right?
Netanyahu with the plastic tip. He's getting filmed getting the
That's
vaccine, rolls up his sleeve, and there's the orange tip on the needle still.
Yeah, he needs to worry about his seat at this point. 'Cause
Oh, he's that guy's finished. That guy's gonna be.
I'm not so sure, Mike. I'm not so sure. He's really, really persistent.
Yeah, he won't. He's got a mission. He's got a mission, and he needs
Yes.
to follow that mission to the letter.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
So, where do you see the what are we going to do with the displacement of so many people? Because I spoke to a friend, and I spoke to a friend. He used to work in the mall where I had my store, and he messaged me. He's like, "I'm homeless today. I couldn't pay my rent." And he used to go to clubs. He used to have a decent income. He used to live a decent life, and he's homeless. He's like, "I'm homeless today, and I got 2 suitcases I'm walking around town with."
That's terrible. That's so unfortunate. Yeah, I
It,
think
yeah,
these people are going to be scooped up by these affordable housing and probably UBI. And UBI is being really quiet now, although the bill is still supposedly in process.
hmm
No updates since February, I think, or maybe
What about Bill
March.
C-10 for today? It's today or tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah. Did you see the article I sent you? So, did you see that accident with the Muslim community?
Yes, I saw
That's
that.
a
Yes.
whole PR thing for Bill C-10. Like the last interview I sent you, you should listen to this carefully because that's what they're after. She was saying that Canada is an exporter of hate. Who says that? You know, Canada is
Canada's
an
an exporter of
exporter of
hate.
hate. Yeah,
I don't know what that
yeah.
means.
In these words. I don't know what that means, but it's so insidious and it's so mean and so not true. Of course, there's a constant reference to the far right, and of course, these are the same people as the anti-vaxxers. Of course, that's the narrative.
hmm
And she was saying that there's so much online and this and that these social media companies, they're private companies, but because they're so powerful, they should be accountable to quote unquote citizens, right? So that's the whole narrative. But that's maybe talk for Mike in the night, Mike. But to me, right now, the a really big story is these 215 Indigenous kids in the school.
Yeah,
That's
that hit us hard here in this province, and that's totally uncalled for. That's something that's been happening in Canada. It's been happening. Well, it's been happening since the conquistadors in the time of colonialism, right? It's been happening for years, right? And
well,
unfortunately,
Mike. I'm good. I'm good with the story. I'm good with Indigenous people getting their rights and having these crimes um, reckoned for, but
sure.
this is a story that's going to be used for really, really terrible things to come, in my opinion. So an ICC, International Criminal Court application was filed.
hmm
Um, there is a group of people who are calling in for United Nations investigation into Canada, and they're asking for an apology from the Pope and the Catholic Church. So all of these stink of globalist agendas.
And the thing is, it's
So
like I guess the end game is to depopulate, right? And if we're looking at it like on a business side of things, like it's like when you read articles like this. This is the article that got me really mad. With COVID encouraging city dwellers to move into the suburbs as families looking for offices and bigger yards for the American dream home has skyrocketed. Why don't they reword and say, with cities being out of reach for average wage earner Americans, need to move to suburbs? Why this COVID thing, Layla? It's going to be used way after, like we're dead.
yeah, so Mike, we've been seeing this right from the outset, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I want to, um, like, if I could poke at you a little bit, Mike. I think maybe, like maybe there were some things that you weren't acknowledging so much at first, but they were pushing that foolish narrative of people wanting bigger home offices and things like that from the get-go. And it's such a crappy and fake narrative. People who can avoid the cost of the city will avoid the cost of the city. That
Right.
was the reason why they were moving out. They weren't moving out because they want a better home office and all of that crap. They make it
Mm-hmm.
sound like it's a choice and things like that. No,
They're getting
people,
pushed out.
escaped. Yeah, they escaped the city as soon as they could because it's intolerable on many levels. You know. So yeah, and that was happening from the get-go, and the narrative was fake from the get-go, and COVID is BS from the get-go, and it was an instrument for all of the above from the get-go. This was never a health issues. This was never an outbreak in any medical sense. It is a completely invented scenario to restructure society in very, very fundamental ways.
And here it is, an article
And
from
just
2018. Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. So we're looking at 10 to 20,000 a year leaving. These are people born and raised in Vancouver, and that is what's happening in America now. And people are
yeah,
leaving those bigger
yeah.
cities because they're just being. At least in Canada, they were kind of honest about this because they can't afford the housing; it's way out of reach, and people don't want to save 26 years to put a down payment on a condo, right?
It's 40 in China, by the way.
40
Yeah,
years?
absolutely. And I think, yes, it's 40
Four
years in
zero.
China yes, for the average Chinese to save for a down payment. That's why they move out of China. Yeah, it's a disaster over there. I watched the China Observer. It's a good channel, suggested to me by Lord. And Mike, what's going on in the U.S. is really not okay. I think it was Florida that received the most immigrants, Texas next,
Mm-hmm.
and then a few others,
Oh, I've been
Idaho,
calling
a
Texifornia for
few
a long
others.
time.
Yeah, yeah. And now they're just gonna leave the garbage behind them in the Californias and things like that, and they're gonna go now destroy the blue states or the other states.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with Texas is really, really not okay. This is going to be the next Silicon Valley.
Texifornia.
Elon Musk is taking over the grid. Texas is the powerhouse of the U.S. They're not gonna, and it's the only state that can recede from the United States. They're not gonna put the powerhouse of the U.S. in a state that can recede from the United States. So I think what happened with the grid recently,
Florida.
the electricity was the purpose of that was to take over the grid. And you're saying these people are going to be out on the streets in Canada. What are they going to do with them? When they're going to scoop them up into UBI because automation is coming. And just today, there was an interview with this guy who comes in pretty consistently on the news. He's from a university. He works in agri-food analytics,
Mm-hmm.
and he called for AI and automation. And this is all part of the consolidation of the supply chain and, of course, industrial revolution 4.0. All of that is happening. The automation that is happening in Canada is happening very fast, and it's happening also a lot under the radar. So the digital IDs in Ontario, the COVID pass in
COVID
Manitoba,
passaportes.
um, the contact tracing apps, um, the all sorts of other IDs now. Of course, the automation on the job, safe workplace, whatever. All of this is coming into play. And then I don't know if you heard the CRTC is reversing a decision on wholesale rates,
Hmm.
which means that I think it translates into destroying the smaller players, and so
Yes,
the smaller players won't be able to pass on the savings to the consumer.
I
So
heard
what does
about
that
that.
mean?
Yeah.
It means their business model breaks down, right? So it kills their business model. They have no point to exist, right? So
Yes,
here's another
that's a major issue,
consolidation
Layla,
of
because
telecom.
I deal with
Yeah.
wholesalers and I sell my stuff, right? And there's been rumors or discussion of the price of stuff for us. Well, or we won't be allowed to buy any more from wholesalers, from what I've been hearing, by the next year or two.
Well, that's the thing, right? So the whole business model breaks down and it's back into the hands of the big players. So in telecom, you have people like Tech Savvy, for example. They'll buy wholesale from, let's say, Rogers, and they make a saving from buying wholesale. So they pass on the saving to the customer and they scoop up some customers.
Hmm.
Now the CRTC is saying that this wholesale price cannot be applicable anymore. They're going to reverse it back to the 2016 rates, which means that the wholesale saving that they pass on to the customer no longer exists. So what does that do? It destroys their whole business model. So there's no point in having a tech savvy anymore because they can't create savings for the customer.
Hmm.
So the customer has no purpose in going for tech savvy. They'll just go for, the big guys, the Rogers and the Telus and the Bells who have better packages, better customer service and things like that, because they're much bigger companies.
We got Mike
So
Banks. Hold on, I want to throw something here because it actually ties into what you're saying before we jump somewhere else. Mike Banks is saying Amazon's first robot-controlled warehouse going up in Richmond, BC. Damn, robots taking up human jobs. And that robot,
yeah, that's gonna happen faster than we're keeping a tab on, Mike, because it's not in the news. It's not in the news as much. You have to dig them out in these
I think the Covey is the
specialized
cover up for this.
journals.
The Covey is the
Yeah,
cover up
yeah, yeah,
for,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, that's what we're saying, Mike. The Covey is this cure-all. It does all of these things in society. It's doing everything for UBI, for automation, for biometrics, for the digital currencies, for the housing market, for for healthcare, uh, pensions. A lot of people emptied their pensions to survive this time, eh?
Hmm.
A lot of business owners emptied their pensions to stay afloat,
Hmm.
which I think is a big mistake. But oh well.
Mortgage stress on the rise
Yeah.
across Australia, with Tasmania hit the hardest. 50% of people are in mortgage crisis right now in Tasmania.
Well, it must be something similar in Canada, right? But they're very good at covering this
Oh,
up
Canada's the
in
best at
Canada.
lying, man. Who do you think is the best at lying?
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
Americans are the worst because you had this election. I wouldn't say it was an election; it was a selection, and it was just so blatant. Everything was so blatant. Everything from
Mike, all
from elections,
elections are
from all that stuff is all it's
selections.
all the news, the border, this, that. They do such a terrible job lying, the Americans. The Canadians, I think they're so passive. They just agree to whatever, and you know.
That's right. That's right. I have to agree with that. Just I can't get used to how submissive of a culture Canada has, you know, and they lie so much, and it takes a bit for people to figure it out. Well, it did for me anyway, but
Hmm.
these immigrants, for example, they're so naive. They think the government has their best interests at heart. Even a lot of Canadians still actually believe that. They have a lot of good faith in their government. They believe in due process. They believe in, the administrative proceedings of Parliament and all of that. Like they need to wake up. It's all complete BS, and
Hmm.
it's a waste of their tax dollars.
The sad part about this whole situation is a lot of it could have been. What could we have done to prevent all this crap?
Well,
Like
Mike, I
elect better
I I
people,
don't think
or create better laws,
no,
or
I
like
don't
what?
think so, Mike. No, I don't think so. Like, I think, like, every so often you'll say that COVID was used um, to derail Donald Trump. I can't agree with that, Mike, at all. This is like a completely global agenda
Hold
that
on,
comes
hold on.
from far
Can I say
above
something,
Trump.
please, in my defense?
Yeah.
Fauci in 2018, I think it was 2018, it's on record, you could say, let's see what Donald Trump's going to do with the pandemic during his presidency. That's what Fauci said in 2018. It's on you could look it up. Layla, please look it up, and you'll see it, and you'll be like, oh my God.
I know, I remember.
Huh?
I remember it.
Okay.
I saw it and I remember it. Yeah, so here you go, Mike. It has nothing to do with a presidency or Trump's presidency. And Trump was selected just as much as Biden was selected,
Josue
just as much
Bidon?
as Trudeau was selected. Yeah, Bo Biden,
Yeah.
you know. So it's all, designed to further the agenda. So Trump had a different role than Biden. Trudeau does something different in Canada. They're all, they have to be placed at the right time for the right context so that we keep moving towards the goals. And you can't say, right? We have been moving towards the goals. Can you honestly say that they haven't been succeeding at their projects? They have been. Maybe they have damage control. Maybe their numbers is not as high as they'd like. Maybe it's not as fast as they'd like it to be, but they're still moving forward. They manage the damage control. They fight them as they pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what they did in Manitoba, for example.
Oh, with
One
the
too many
vaccine passports?
protests and one too many protests. Okay, it started with too many protests, and you should really talk to the Raven about that because I think he said that he went to a couple of them.
He did. We had him on the show
And
about that on Mike in the Night. Yeah.
there were too many, and if you follow the narrative with Pallister and Roussin, how they were working through the protests. The next thing you know, there's the major outbreak in Manitoba, in Canada, as in Manitoba, and here you go.
Hold
They
on.
re-locked down, and they're
Let's
still
go back
locked
to the
down,
tail end of
and they have the highest
2019.
numbers.
What was happening in the tail end of 2019? What was 2019
That's
dubbed
right.
as?
That's right.
2019 was dubbed as the year of the protest.
The year of the exactly. So you have
2019.
protests, you have an outbreak. Here you go.
Yeah. We had Hong Kong. We had the Gilets jaunes, the Yellow Vest movement in France. We had the Romanians protesting. We had the Lebanese protesting. We had the people in
South
where was it?
America.
All over South America, except
America,
Honduras was
everywhere.
protesting.
Everywhere. And in the US, there were a lot of protests as well.
In 2019.
Remember, there were a lot of the Proud Boys and all of that stuff getting mixed up. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
All of South America, lots of things in Africa. We don't hear a lot of things going on in Africa.
Zimbabwe
we don't hear
had
about.
Lots of major upsets and protests.
In Nigeria.
And Uganda was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of these countries were in a lot of turmoil over protests and this, that. And then
Even Thailand.
Oh, Israel was in protest too in 2019. Major protests
That's
in
true.
Israel.
Yeah, again, against Netanyahu.
Yep.
As
And
usual,
then
every so often.
And Covey shows up mysteriously.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't think they were waiting for the protests to roll out COVID. I mean, maybe they were timing it because they've been working on this for a while. And then they had Event 201 and all of that. And the like 2018, like you were saying, Fauci was saying about Trump, what would Trump do with the pandemic? It goes a bit before, right? The protest was a good time to roll it out, but it's not because of the protest that they wanted to roll out COVID, right? COVID was something they were going to roll out sooner or later. It was just a good timing for them. So yeah, same thing in Manitoba. So here you go.
Yep. All right, Layla. Yeah. I just wanted you to come on for a bit. Oh, hold on. I want to ask you one more thing, and I'm going to read the headline, right? How Canada's housing crisis is related to its fentanyl crisis.
Wow.
It's crazy. How? It's in better dwelling. In a housing bubble, no one wants to touch any factors that pop it. Even if it's transitional crime, criminals know that as well, which makes it a prime target for operations. Real estate laundering in Canada was so popular, Cooper even obtained a government document where the Australian anti-money laundering expert gave it a name of the Vancouver model. Yep. The Vancouver model mixes legal and illicit cash, such as that from fentanyl sales. The pooled money is then used to buy high-end real estate funded by the capital flight and casino high rollers. The real estate is then used to sort as a sort of a deposit, helping to feed the unsustainable need for luxury real estate. The more fentanyl sold, the more luxury real estate is needed. It doesn't matter how big it is, it just needs to be expensive. Diabolical, but genius. Maybe Canada could consider fentanyl deaths as a market fundamental. Yeah, so lots of young families, lots of our youth died in our cities. Fentanyl and opioid overdoses.
Good with that. They're good with that. If they were serious about, about that, first, it would be a major line item that they talk through in the elections, which, as you know,
they never talked about, and I was so pissed.
Talk about it, and every time they talk about the housing market, they always talk what I call Epstein economics. Clean and tidy, and no reference to money laundering or the crime, or these these gangs that run a lot of the market. When magazines like Better Dwelling, which is totally above board, it is not a conspiracy theory board, they're talking about this. But you listen to Yahoo Finance, you listen to CTV News, CPAC, and all of the garbage, and they're never talking about these things. They're talking nonsense like the supply and people moving out of the city for bigger offices, and all of that nonsense. When you have portions of society, significant portions of society in places like Vancouver that live in utter despair, because of these things, because of these operations.
Brother Leaf is saying we need more fentanyl to save the economy. D-Town 416 is saying, does anyone know how to answer to my question? If you're immigrating to Canada after June 1st, do you face the first-time homebuyer stress test? It depends, because Canada or banking institution favor foreigners moving in and bringing their money over as opposed to a local buying a property. We read articles on that Canada favors Chinese investors or Chinese purchasers or home buyers over Canadians. We covered that 3 years ago on the channel. I don't know if that still applies, but I know a lot of institutions would rather deal with people bringing money into the country because that helps the country and it helps buy out the middle class, and we get even more and more impoverished in our own country. So here it is. Listen to this.
And immigrants should wake up and be aware of what they're getting into, because a lot of immigrants take Canada at face value and they have no idea of all of this stuff that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay, so here it is. Let me go on here a little bit more. Surprisingly, I'm only unpacking 3 things related to the real estate in the book. There are literally dozens of other issues presented, including Canadian intelligence warning about how real estate is a threat back in the 1990s. Yes, the most important book, The Canadian Real Estate this year, is about spies and drug cartels. At least you'll have some interesting beach reading. So this is a book that's written. I'm actually going to buy this. I'm going to go find it somewhere online. It's called, Layla, I recommend you find a PDF or something. It's called, new book dives into Canadian real estate gangs, laundering, and corrupt officials. I think the book is called How a Network of Narcos, Tycoons, and CPP Agents Infiltrated the West. It's a power grab of 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. That's in a Better Dwelling article, right?
That's
promoting
correct,
the book.
yes.
Yeah, I saw that article. Yeah, that's worth buying. That's worth getting, Mike.
Definitely.
I'm going to count on you to read it, Mike. I'm a bit drowning in my AI studies right now. That's
Okay,
why I'm
no
up
worries.
so late.
No worries.
The Raven was on the chat. Maybe you can catch him for a bit as well.
Who?
The Raven.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see if I could call him. I see what he's up to. I haven't talked to him in a while. He's been, on down low lately. I'm not sure what he's up to. I hope he's okay. I'll give him a call in a few here, okay? See if he picks up.
Okay, super. Mike, thanks so much.
God bless
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
You.
That is Layla coming on the show. And let's see what we have here. We tried to... we tried calling... Ricky Spanish is offline right now, but he is in the Discord. If you need to talk to Ricky Spanish, he's in the Discord. Who else we got here? Okay, who do we got here? I'm just trying to see through here. There's so many people. I got over like 3,000 people on my Skype here. Oh, here he is, the Raven. Let's see if he picks up his phone.
Hello.
Hello, is this the Raven?
Hey, how's it going?
Man, long time no speak. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. What you been up to? I haven't heard from you in a while.
I'm working a lot. I'm in a taxi right now, but it's okay. I could talk to you.
Nice.
I was just explaining to these guys that Trump is a deceiver.
So
What's up?
Nada, I just want to call and ask what is going on. Where do you see things headed? Because right now, Amerifornia, like I've been talking about, is on full force, and I don't see things getting any financially better for anybody.
Well, no, it's a downward spiral. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, just came out and said we're looking at 20% inflation here. That's what we got to look forward to. A 2x4 at Home Depot is now $13. Was $3.20 what, a year and a half ago? You know? So the melt up phase, protect your assets, do what you can. But with 20% inflation coming, you're going to see a massive amount of people fall into the poverty lines here, and then that's going to put pressure on the food banks. And then there's going to be more money needed. It's a snake eating its tail, eh?
Dude,
more money.
there was a lineup at the local food bank here the other day, like almost a half a mile long.
Oh, really? In Merritt?
Yeah.
Really, in Merritt? Wow.
Dominic Burlow's in the house. He said Manitoba passed a COVID passport. Yes, I covered that 2 days ago on the Morning Coffee with Mike. And passaporte, please. So you're in Manitoba right now. Tell us, what is going on with this COVID passport? Have you taken your 2 shots yet?
No, you know what? I just found out my brother and his wife took it. I was very disappointed. I'm not taking that shot. You know that.
I know you're not. I'm just playing with you and asking if you try to stick a fork or a knife to your arm. Yeah,
no, that's coming. The gun to the head's coming. Don't worry. First it's voluntary, then it's bribery. No, voluntary, then it's shaming, then it's bribery, and then it's force.
Yeah, they are bribing people with lotteries and this and trips and spas. They're even bribing people with lap dances in Vegas.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And marijuana.
The Pentos guy, what's his name? Larry. I can't remember his.
Flint.
Larry Flint. Yeah, he's offering lap dances there. But with that inflation coming, you're gonna see a lot of people come off that low income into the poverty, and add 20% to everything that you buy, like everything. Like they're not counting it in the CPI, so we're gonna have a rough time with 20% inflation. So I believe they're gonna come out with a 4th wave just to curb the uprising. Civil unrest is coming, definitely. That's going to be a big thing. By probably the 4th quarter of this year, we will be up in the 15 to 20 inflation range, and you're going to see a lot of civil unrest, because when people can't afford food, they're going to be getting a little bit antsy, eh? And then the money, UBI will be coming out, and if you don't take your injection, you're not getting your UBI. Then there's going to be there'll be that part of it too. So, yeah, it'll be a lot of that.
Raven, can you join our Discord? Because I know you do a lot of reading, and the reason why, if you're on our Discord, everyone's on there. Everybody's on the Discord. And if you could join the Discord, I would like you, because I know you read a lot of articles, I would like you to cut and paste the article on the Discord so we could see what you're looking at too, and we could kind of discuss that more, Discord's free. You could get an app for your phone. It's actually really good. It's a private chat.
These guys, once they get the sheep corralled into that pen, they're going to be looking for the dissidents, and where better to look than social media. So they're going to know everybody that they're going to have an issue with. So I might sell my last property here in a few months and downsize. And I don't. Yeah, it's a paranoid thing, Mike. But I want to lighten my internet footprint.
Yeah. Yeah, because I get emails from people that live in mainland China, and they use burner emails, right? When they send me a message, and the email basically doesn't exist after.
Yeah. See, you don't get any strikes on your channel, and we talk about pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is with my channel is I think it's in a position where it's not supposed to grow at all anyway. So they've just put me in this little section where like channels that don't really exist down here, because I've been trying to get to 14,000 subscribers now for like.
I think they find. Yeah, I know. There's a reason for that. I think they find your channel useful. They monitor all channels. They said that in their article that they wrote. They monitor all channels.
Mm-hmm.
This one's very useful. I would find it useful. So it's a good way to gauge.
I think your phone's cutting out there. Is the taxi going under a bridge or a subpass or an underground tunnel or something? Hello?
I'm going to a small town called Eli, Manitoba. So the cell service out here is not the best. It's a little choppy.
Oh, okay. But yeah. It's kind of strange that, I don't know, we talk about stuff on the channel, and I mean, but we're not abrasive about it. We're not like, we're not lying. We're just being told what they're trying to tell us. That's all we're talking about. We're talking about what they're telling us.
I've seen people silenced for a lot less. Right?
Whoa.
I watched your video today with the lumber going by, and I brought 14,000 tons of lumber in 2 days ago into the city from out west.
Mm-hmm.
28 million pounds of lumber, and we're bringing that in constantly. So I don't see where the shortage is.
Yeah, I know that was all pent up and Mickey Moused, and it's the distraction for the actual what they're really doing, right? And there's just too many moving parts, right? It's like an automatic transmission. Have you seen how many parts are moving in an automatic transmission? Tons.
Yeah.
And
I blew one up the other day. So
was that in the '63 Corvette?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I blew up the transmission. We put another one in. It's in the shop right now, getting the electrical, the gauges all working.
Okay.
Getting it ready to get to the lake.
Oh, good. I'm happy that the car is, working out for you. Like I've had older Corvettes before. Like when I was young, I had 72 and I had a 74, and just the steering, the handling on the car is just terrible. I noticed. That's just me. I don't know about yours, but the ones I had were just the handling. You could throw it out. It's garbage.
Mine's pretty good. It handles all right. I don't mind it.
Yeah,
it's lots of fun. I got my Corvette 19 plates today.
You got vaccine plates?
No, I got my Corvette 19 license plates.
Oh, Corvette 19!
Yeah, I'll send you a picture when I get them on.
Corvette 19. That's so nice.
Yeah. I can't believe they gave them to me.
Oh, that's going to be nice, man. Yeah, you know what you should, like I said, I know I'm a little bit of a stretch for you, but I think you could get to my house in about 18 hours.
Oh, I think that's an old car, man.
No. Well, you don't have to bring that car. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you ever want to, I'm only 18 hours away, like maybe 12 to 18, depending on your drive. Because where you are, all you got to do is catch that Canada International Highway, the Trans-Canada. Before you know it, you're in Saskatoon, and then you're in Calgary, and then the next stop is Merritt.
Yeah, I'm on it right now. I'm about 30 miles west of Winnipeg, heading west. We're deadheading out to work here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Raven. Are you working this Saturday?
You know what? I got CBC is coming to my house next week. Their set buyers are coming. they're going to be taking a cube van of my antiques for that TV series called The Porter that they're shooting in Winnipeg this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you watch the TV series The Porter, all the railway antiques will be mine on their show there. They're coming next week.
Well,
Saturday.
Okay, leave us a link. I'd appreciate it. Leave us a link or let us know when exactly. I'll watch it. I'll find a way to watch it.
Well, it's about a black guy who's a porter in Canada in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be it'll be pretty interesting to watch that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'll try and be around Saturday.
Try if you can. We'll get you on to go full kook, but you got to go to the taco place and do it though.
Some people can't handle the full kook, so I got to tone it down a little bit.
It's okay. Some people can and some people can't. It's just like this injection. Some people die and some people don't, and they die in 2 years. It depends, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
God bless you, Raven. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. That is the Raven. He's in a taxi west of Manitoba, Winnipeg. All right, so who is out there tonight? We got Brother Leaf. We got Trust the Silence. We got Layla in the house. We got Ralphie.co.New Zealand. We got Bat Soup. We got D-Man. We got Grindhouse Cartoons. Who else? We got lots of people in here. We got King Cash. King Cash in the house, guys. Don't forget, I'm going to plug his channel. Let's go over some of the headlines we talked about tonight, guys. And this is the one where I started swearing and freaking out, was this headline right here. I started freaking out when I wrote this. Houses in the U.S. cost 13.2% more in March than 2020. We went over the California thing. This pissed me right off. When I read this, man, I was ready to... With COVID encouraging city dwellers to move to suburbs and families looking for home offices and bigger yards. Bull crap. I call bull crap on that because this is how they should word it. With Americans being bought out of their major cities, it's pushing out city dwellers to move into suburbs with families to find more affordable housing and more bang for their buck. That's the way it's supposed to be worded. Stop using COVID for everything because it's getting old. And then we just did a comparable from what happened in Canada from 3-4 years ago, that Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver, and these are people born and raised in Vancouver, are leaving in mass numbers because, and this was a few years ago, America's experiencing that. Australia experienced it about a year ago in Melbourne, and then 3 years ago in Sydney, and 7 years ago in Perth. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. We know that already, and we know that. And then we talked about White House says rising home prices are a concern. And then we got luxury home sales soar, even helping houses that languished on the market for months. Now, if you see what's happening here with the houses going up in price and luxury homes being bought and left empty, because it goes into this, and it goes into the money that was laundered, and not only that, how Canada's housing crisis is related to fentanyl. And all they buy is luxury homes and push up the property prices through factories in China creating and making fentanyl and selling it on our streets to our youth and dying on the streets. More people, I think, died of opioid and fentanyl overdoses in Vancouver than all of BC died of COVID in 2020. Like by far. I'm talking the numbers are like this. But we don't address the fentanyl and opioid overdoses and address that problem because then it's going to stop housing sales and from gangs to buy up more and more properties and leave them empty, right? And then we discussed Chinese police arrest 1,100 people, and total people arrested in this bust was it has arrested more than 311,000 people in this money laundering scam. 311,000 people. Man, I don't even know, like a couple of cities around me don't even have that much. NAB's secretive project Apollo to fix financial crime loopholes. So National Australian Bank right now is having a major issue with money laundering. And again, lots more here. And don't worry, Westpac, another big one in Australia, breached 23 million breaches of money laundering. And $1,600 taken from customer's account, and her bank won't say why. That's happened to me once already, where the bank took, I think it was $2,700 out, and they wouldn't tell me where the money went, who took it, where it was it transferred. They said they weren't allowed to tell me. We also talked about the Fed was warning Deutsche Bank over anti-money laundering backsliding, and that is a major issue that's been happening now for the last 2 decades there. We didn't. What else are we talking about? Fentanyl. Okay, and here it is. Americans have saved up to 70% of their latest stimulus checks. Bank of America CEO says potentially leaving hundreds of billions unspent. Craziest market in 30 years. The impact of the global housing boom. So this article is really good. It explains that. Mortgage stress on the rise across Australia, with Tasmania hit the hardest. Now, 50% of people are in mortgage stress. Heisa says that a video on that not too long ago. And I kind of wanted to throw out those articles that we threw out today, just kind of revamp that. And King Cash YouTube's in the house, and he's always sharing videos, like our live streams and stuff. Let me see if I could find him here. I haven't subscribed to him, and I'm pretty sure he actually put up a video recently, so it should be up top here. I'm going to give you guys a link to this channel, and I want everybody that's watching this to respectively subscribe to his channel, please. Here it is, copy and paste. Can you please go and subscribe to this channel? King Cash YouTube is one of us, 100% one of us. Now, the first rule of this channel is you don't talk about this channel. The second rule of this channel, you don't talk about this channel. And if it's your first time watching this show, you gotta call in. I'm gonna use that for Mike in the Night intro. Grindhouse Cartoon says that's Armand Dano. He's saying that he should have been a banker. No, you're not a. Yeah, you know what? You're a good human being. You're humble, and you're happy doing what you're doing, and I'm happy what you're doing. Okay, guys, here it is. The channel. Let's get to 14,000 subscribers by Christmas. I'm about 40 away. Guys, don't forget to set your reminders for Mike in the Night. I don't know what to call it until a day before because it's so shifty right now. The title is called "They Will Never Ever Fight for You." Is the title of next week's Mike in the Night. So if you guys want to set your reminders for that, here it is right there. And then don't forget to message me on Instagram if you guys want to send me a personal message. And we have Lord Humongous Amerifornia Tour 2021-2022 if you guys want to join. And artbydano.com, not your typical art. He could talk to Dano. He could actually commission a custom piece of artwork for you. I've got lots of stuff from him all over the house and all over my store. Artbydano.com. And Ralphie.co.New Zealand, where you could hear rebroadcastings of Mike in the Night here in New Zealand, across Auckland and Christchurch and all kinds of places across New Zealand. There's a lot of the names are hard to pronounce in those cities in New Zealand because a lot of them are of the Aboriginal or Native tongue. So some of them I just butcher so many of those names. Terrible. Wow, what time is it now? So we're going to be wrapping up in 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes to go. Does anybody Okay, let's see what we got. All right. We got Butt Cream in the house saying, but you just talked about this show. And then you got Grindhouse Cartoon saying, I'm practicing low-impact drinking. Amerifornia Tour, yeah. D-Man is saying, call Brother Leaf. You know what? I'm going to get him on Mike in the Night this Saturday. If he's available, he can come on. Just get him to come on Mike in the Night because Leaf has a lot of a perspective of like a very dark view of things, which is not saying that it's not happening, but I guess the way it's summed up, it's not all flowers and roses and beautiful fragrances, right? So we got Mitch Madden says, Mike, I have a short story.
Ricky Spanish.
Yeah, we're going to get Ricky Spanish on Saturday. Right now, I think he's... Mitch has a story for us, so let's call Mitch real quick and get a story from him. Where is it? I feel bad. You know, he lost his mother the other day from the... Where the hell's Mitch? Why is Mitch not coming up? Mitch Madden, in my favorites. There it is. I'm not getting a ring. Hello? I'm not getting a ring.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, hey, Mitch. What's up, buddy?
Well, someone made a comment earlier about, the world going to hell in a handbasket, and there's a big crash coming. And what he was questioning was why should he believe anyone? Because people have been saying there's going to be a big thing, bad thing happening for years and years. And I was just thinking about a friend of mine who worked for a contractor who worked in the oil refineries, who was making six figures back over 20 years ago. And in about 1999, his entire his entire retirement was in the NASDAQ. Remember the .com boom?
Right.
And he had hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't remember the exact amount. He told me at one time in that. Anyway, he had a divorce. Him and his wife had been married since right out of high school, and they were married quite a long time, and they had one son that was grown up. But anyway, they got a divorce, and he wasn't sure what to do, and he decided to give her this expensive house that they had a lot of equity in and some other goodies, and then he was able to keep his retirement because it was so big and it was growing so fast. Mm-hmm. Anyway, within about 2 or 3 years, his retirement had dropped by 80%, and this was in the early 2000s. And the house that his wife got during the divorce was going up in value unbelievably, and she refinanced it and pulled out a couple $100,000 and was living high on the hog while he was suffering trying to rebuild his retirement. Anyway, then the real estate boom happened. I mean, the real estate crash happened. 2006, 7, it started, and then anyway, then the house that she got dropped by 50%, a little more than 50% over the next couple of years. So he ended up losing most of his retirement, and then she ended up losing most of her assets, all within less than 10 years. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, to the guy who was asking, I can't remember who it was, why should we believe that there could be a crash? There can be a crash in anything at any time. And don't think that just because you've got a sure thing that it's going to last. You could have a reversal of fortune at any moment, no matter what your investment is. And I have seen it personally. It's happened to me too, mostly from divorce, but also big downturns in real estate. I've gone through 2 of them where I thought I was rich, and then all of a sudden I was panicking and I wasn't rich anymore. And I didn't know what I was going to do because all my plans just went down the toilet. So anyway, I just wanted to tell that little quick story. I didn't have it really laid out in my mind very well, but nobody should feel that because they've got an investment that's on the way up and it hasn't crashed in a long time or forever, that it can't happen, because it can happen at the snap of a finger. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of reversals of fortune coming, both positives and negatives. A lot of money and equity is going to change hands. It always has, and it always will. So just protect yourself, I guess, is my only advice. Anyway, that was just my little short story I was thinking of, Mike.
Well, that's good. A good seesaw or tug of war, 2-sided. How one is up, then one goes down, then one goes back up, and one goes down, and it's
He thought he was making the right move because his retirement was going up by 30% a year. And he thought he was making the right move, and real estate was kind of in a so-so slow phase. And he thought, well, I'll just give the wife the house and the equity and everything, and I'll take my retirement. All of a sudden, boom, he has nothing. And then and then a few years later, boom, his wife has nothing.
You know what would be good for him is if he cashed out early, like at the right time,
Right.
and just moved to Vietnam, and then he would have been set for life.
Well, timing. I've learned this from life. Timing is crucial, and my biggest losses, Mike, have been from greed. That's when I've lost. When I've already made a good amount of profit on an investment, and I haven't taken the profit because I think that I'm going to get more. And that has always been my downfall, is greed, and I think that's true with most people.
Yeah, that's my true with me in the stock market. Sometimes I get into greed. Sometimes I feel a bit of FOMO once in a while, and stuff like that. It happens.
I like David Morgan's philosophy that if you make an investment and it doubles, sell as soon as it doubles, sell off half of it. And then you've got your money back, and then you've got a free trade or free investment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what happens because you got your money back.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this 20% inflation that Raven was talking about, and that is pretty accurate as far as I can tell. I can remember a big property owner that I was familiar with down in my home area, down the San Francisco Bay Area, in the late 70s. He had it was into the 80s. He had major apartment complexes, and he was getting so much money on his cash in interest.
Oh, they're back in the 80s. They were getting like 12%, 8%.
He was getting more than that. He was privately loaning money to people who were trying to get a second mortgage who couldn't get it from the bank, and he was charging them 18 or 20% for for a second mortgage.
20% VIG.
Yeah, and anyway, what he would do is, say he had an apartment complex with 100 apartments, and they're all paying their fee, electricity included, inclusive. And the electric bill was like in the thousands of dollars every month. So what he would do is he wouldn't pay the electric bill. He would collect the rents including the electricity, and then he would invest them and make all this interest. And then he would be there waiting when the electric company would send him notice after notice after notice after notice after notice that they were going to shut off the electricity for all these apartments. He would be waiting there when they came with a check, when they came to shut off the electricity, and he would pay it right at the last. And he was late on all of his mortgages and everything else because he was making so much money on his cash flow that he would not pay any bills. He had it all figured out. He was a bean counter. And but you're going to see that kind of thing again. The way it's looking right now is you're going to be able to. Well, no, because we can't get any interest. But inflation is running up.
You can't.
Yeah,
they're going to have to. I think America's going to have to. If before they see Amerifornia happening before their eyes, are going to have to raise interest rates a few percentage points.
They can't do it, Mike. They can't do it. They can't raise the interest. They can't. They could raise it a couple of basis points or something, but they can't raise the interest rates because like John Williams just said on USAWatchdog.com, there's only two choices: inflation or implosion. That's all that's left. So they have to keep flooding the system with money to keep the inflation going and keep the thing afloat, or if they raise interest rates, the whole thing is going to collapse. The whole thing, the real estate's going to collapse, the bond market's going to collapse, the equities are going to collapse, the dollar's going to collapse. I mean, they might hold up the dollar a little if they raised interest rates. That would be bad for gold and silver, but something's going to go haywire here pretty quick.
I know.
Can't you just feel it?
I've been watching the VIX moving around lately, and it doesn't look good. I'm very cautious right now.
Yeah, and with all of these mortgage forbearances, even student loans now in America, it's $1.something trillion in student loans. Now they're going to lose their forbearance or moratorium or whatever pretty soon, and the same with rents, the same with mortgages. all those people that have not been paying and that have been getting all this stimulus money and all these federal income unemployment checks on top of the state checks, and all this is going to come to an end. And I don't know, they're going to have to come up with something where they just give everybody millions of dollars, I guess, and then the inflation is going to go up into the stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about
something bad's going to happen.
Oh, man.
There's just no way that they can get out of this mess.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you, Mitch. All right, Mitch, I'm winding up to my second hour. Thanks for killing some time and coming on and giving us some information. I appreciate that.
Okay, and thanks so much, Mike, and we'll see you all Saturday night.
On Mike in the Night.
Right.
Bye, Mitch.
Cool. Bye-bye.
That's our man, Mitch Madden, out of Oregon, who is loaded with good stories and good information and wisdom. Knowledge is good, but wisdom, it's that feeling you get when you just know things but from experience through life, right? And
you're talking about all man.
All right, guys, let's wind it down now. It's time for me to... What time is it? We got 3 minutes left, and I am going to be winding it down, guys, and saying a good night to everybody, and Commonwealth for common people. Let's play the Commonwealth song here. Here we go. Commonwealth. Oh, yeah, I want to thank everybody in the comments. I want to thank Bat Soup, Adrian T, Grindhouse Cartoons, Layla, D-Man, Brother Leaf, Boromir, son of Denethor, Crazy Shredder, D-Man, again, I said that, Tignim, good night, Butt Cream, Lord Humongous, Adrian T,
You're talking about all men. Woo!
Don't forget to join our Discord, eh? Join our Discord so you can join our live conversation and live chat.
Woo! The money, the brains, the nucleus. And pal, I'll kiss your boots if you can do it.
All right, people. Have a good night. Take care. And if you can't take care, please stay safe. Mike Martin's here, signing off. I have spoken.